Elizabeth Hargrave. I'm the president of MAW. Thanks for coming to our August meeting. I'm going to share my screen. And I'm going to do this. All right. Oops. All right. So tonight's agenda, I'm going to just go through a bunch of upcoming events and a few news items. April's going to talk about culinary stuff, including our recent picnic. Mitch is going to do the virtual ID table. And then Bradley Simpson from Nature Forward is going to talk about woody plant ID. I am very excited to make that local connection. All right, so some upcoming events. These are all on our website, so don't feel like you need to be taking copious notes. And we also record these meetings and we'll put them up on YouTube. But we're going to do a tree ID walk at Nature Forward later this month. So that they're located in Chevy Chase at the Wood End Sanctuary. And then at the very end of this month and over Labor Day weekend is our retreat at Sequanota. It is sold out. We've got 100 people signed up. So we are excited about that. If you want to go and did not register in time, there often are a few dropouts. So you can email me at info@maudc.org and we can start a little waiting list if you want to see if you can get in at the last minute for Sequanota. Always a fun time. Our next monthly program will be right when we come back on the first Tuesday in September. And then the next couple dates to just hold in mind. Another big event for us is an annual mushroom fair that we hold at Brookside Gardens every year in the visitor center. We often bring in lots of mushrooms and just get lots of people who are randomly at Brookside, as well as lots of mom members who come out. So that's always fun, especially if we get some rain ahead of time. We'll see. Often October is actually pretty good. We had a really nice spread last year. And then Top McCoy is going to run a photo contest again this year. So keep that in mind as you are taking pictures during mushroom season. And he will ask you to send him stuff by November 11th. Apparently September is mushroom month by somebody's decree, but also Saranella at Mount Rainier Nature Center has decided to jump on that and schedule a whole series of events in September at Mount Rainier. So September 5th, they're going to do a movie, and she and Tom McCoy are going to talk about it afterwards. So it's sort of a documentary about fungi. September 8th is our regular monthly DNA day that's always at Mount Rainier Nature Center. So you can go and chat with some of the club experts and see how they do DNA extraction. September 12th, they're going to do an artsy craftsy event making mushrooms out of polymer clay. September 19th, I'm going to go over, I have a board game coming out called Undergrove that is about mycelial relationships, trees, trading resources with mushrooms. And they're going to do a little launch party at Mount Rainier. Next month, I'll talk about a couple other things that I'm still in the process of scheduling for that. And then September 25th, they're going to do a night hike with bioluminescent fungi and fluorescent fungi. And Saranella has put all of these as well up on our events calendar on our website. So a couple of these require registration. So go ahead and check those out if one of those is something that you really care about and get on the list for that event. This slide is not showing up right. Well, the next big one is, there we go. Right after, oh yeah, West Virginia Foray is in the middle of August, so coming up in a couple weeks. That's out at Blackwater Falls State Park, which is beautiful, in Davis, West Virginia, out by Dolly Sods, if y'all know that area. up in Pittsburgh in mid-September is the Linkoff foray, named after beloved mycologist Gary Linkoff, run by one of the Pennsylvania mushroom clubs. The nymph foray up in New England is in Cape Cod this year in October. And then at the end of October, beginning of November, the North American Mycological Association foray is out in Randall, Washington, near Mount St. Helens, sort of that area of Washington. I have not checked on how many of these are sold out. They do sell out. So if any of these sound interesting to you, look them up. It is super fun to go out for a full weekend of people who know what they're doing and beginners all mixed together, and just go on lots of forays and see what comes into all the tables. All right, I have just a couple things from Fungi in the News. I've been traveling the last couple of weeks. There's an article just published in Nature a couple weeks ago with some really intensive brain imaging about what is happening with people who take high-dose psilocybin. So it's only 7 patients, but it was 18 MRIs per patient over the course of several months, where they gave people a dose of psilocybin and then waited a few months and then gave them a dose of Ritalin as a control of, like, this is also psychoactive, but in different ways. And then another dose of psilocybin, and they did imaging before, during, and after each of those experiences. And they found what I have heard people say before, because other people have done MRI imaging, just not with this particular methodology, but consistent with other studies, they found that it affects your default mode network, which sort of affects it creates your sense of space and time and self, where you are in the world. But there were also, if you look at some of the pictures in the article, like the whole picture of the brain is lit up, that things are different during a psilocybin experience than in the default just pre-anything phase or in with Ritalin. And then because they did so many scans of the same brains, they were able to sort of show more about sort of the persistence over time in individuals, and comparing just these 7 individuals across each other. So they found that this decrease in connectivity lasted for weeks, and they sort of say this is probably related to some of the neuroplasticity that people are seeing functionally when they're getting these high doses of psilocybin. So if you're interested in that whole body of research, this is an interesting one to check out. There's an article in Nature, and then Smithsonian Magazine did a nice summary where they interviewed some people that weren't involved in the research about what they thought of it as well. And I pass these links on to Bridget for the newsletter as well. And the one other news item that Daniel Berman passed along to me that I thought was interesting was this study. There's actually 2 separate articles that got published on this work at the University of Illinois. So people have been using bacteria to break down wastewater for quite a while to get it into some usable nutrient source for agriculture. And these folks were testing what happens if you put Chermides versicolor into the process, and they found that it dramatically increased the usable nitrogen in that wastewater slurry, and
Biosolids, we call it.
also reduced the processing time. I don't know, April, is this something you've looked at?
I said biosolids is what we call it. We use Animox, which is like this archaea found on the floor of the ocean, to do something else to it. So I just screenshot this to send my boss, because convert it to fertilizer.
Yeah. So it's cool that is happening locally with DC Water, and folks are trying to make use of everything they can. So fun things with fungi. All right, that is all I had this month.